Could have all of our pre-K, kindergarten, first and second graders come on up to the bima.
Are you going up there? You want them there? Okay.
I'm glad.
The last one we did is Shan. If you get a copy of that, Shan, it's
Fan.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov, umanayim shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov, umanayim shevet
Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How wonderful, how beautiful it is to be here with all of you. These are some of our kindergarten through second graders who just had dinner with their parents. They are joining us this evening, some of them for their first time as part of our Friday night services. So we welcome you and your families to join with us. We have in a moment I'm going to introduce some of our Gesher participants who are here, many of them from our sister region, Shar HaNegev in Israel, that a number of our congregants, where 32 of us were just in 2 weeks ago in Shar HaNegev region and met with Lilach and some others, and so we're very excited that they're here. We're going to hear from one of our Israel participants, Jonathan Book, a little later in our service to give us a small recap of incredible highlights and takeaways. We're going to hear a little more from our kindergarten through second graders, and we also know that we celebrate Simcha and Bat Mitzvah. And as we celebrate with Chloe and the Zeichner family as she becomes Bat Mitzvah tomorrow afternoon, there is a lot to celebrate. And I'm also aware that there are people that are here to commemorate Yahrzeit, that are here to reflect on the passing of a loved one. We hold you in our hearts, and we hope that in this moment that you feel the community surrounding you in love and in prayer, in a way that even though we have joyous moments in our Shabbat, as we welcome Shabbat, that we are aware that all of us carry and hold some sort of loss and pain, and so we hold you together as we welcome into this time. My name is Rabbi Jason Navarez. I am joined in partnership with Rabbi Cantor Arlene Bernstein, with Rabbi Jeremy Gimbel, with our incredible musical ensemble, with Heidi Gantwork. Some of you know Heidi in a different capacity, the president and CEO of Federation of San Diego, and also, you don't know her in this role necessarily as one of our main soloists who shares the bima with us almost each and every week. So we are delighted that she has now worked from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. today, and she will also lead us in prayer today. But we are not just the many that are gathered here, we are also the many that are gathered online, anywhere from Bolivia to Israel, to the Philippines and beyond, and all the way to La Jolla. So we are welcoming one another, and we want you to turn to that camera right there to say Shabbat Shalom, wave, Shabbat Shalom to everyone, as we are so happy that all of us can gather together. And I just want to formally welcome those who are here with us from Shar HaNegev. It is an incredible region, incredible region. Those that are with us are part of what's called the Gesher program. Gesher means bridge in Hebrew, and so the Gesher program is a mifkash, is an exchange where those who are leading organizations throughout San Diego, Jewish organizations throughout San Diego, are paired with their counterparts in Israel. And so through Miri, who I know from Federation, through all of our partners who are with us tonight, through obviously Heidi's incredible leadership at Federation, we have Lilach Shine Gordon, who is the Shar HaNegev Municipality CEO, that's here with us. We have Adi Rom, the director of Matanas, who is partners with Betsy Lynch, our CEO of RJCC here in San Diego. Sachi Levy, who is the director of Hydrotherapy Center, the partners also with Betsy Lynch. Yigal Dadya, who is the director of the Shar HaNegev Education, partners with Steve Rice, who is the head of school at San Diego Jewish Academy, who's with us this evening. Also, Tila Revivo, the director of Welfare Department, partners with Michael Hopkins, a CEO of Jewish Family Services, and Nadav Perez, who is the director of the Resilience Center, also with Michael, partners. Haya Bradman Levy, who is the director of Yachdav, which is the senior partners, and partners with Pam Ferris, who is the CEO of Seacrest, and Limor Cooperstein, deputy director of Yachdav Partners, also with Pam. Naomi Dragon, the director of the Youth Center, who is partners with Karen Perry, who is the CEO, who is the executive director of Hillel of San Diego, and May Brown, also the director of Hillel Sapir College, who is partners with Karen Perry. Did I miss anybody?
Mashiach.
We got it? Fantastic. Thank you, Heidi. So as we welcome this time together, we need to kindle our moments together. And again, like I mentioned earlier, we have an incredible simcha to celebrate tomorrow. And so we want to delight in calling upon Chloe and her family to come up to the bima as we kindle our Shabbat candles together. They lead us. Our immediate family, come join us in the bima.
Baruch atah Adonai
So we turn to page 11 in our prayer books. Those who this may be your first time into our congregation, note that many of our prayers this evening not only are in your prayer books, but they're also on the screens to my right and left. And so feel free to be guided by those as well. Those who are in our online community will find all of our prayers, our blessings, right on your screens. We begin with Kabbalat Shabbat, page 11. We join together. Page 13.
השמיים תסתכל הארץ ים הים ומלאות ישמחו השמיים תסתכל הארץ ים הים ישמחו השמיים תסתכל הארץ ים הים
We're still warming ourselves up, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, as we turn to page 20. L'chadodi likrat kala. Come, my beloved, as we greet the Sabbath bride.
We remain standing, but just for a second, turn around to someone you don't know and wish them Shabbat Shalom. Introduce yourself. Shabbat And we turn to page 146. As we all faced east, we faced Jerusalem, and we call each other to prayer.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
We join together on page 147. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, u'bitbuna mishane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem rakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom u'mevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. Elchai v'kayam, tzamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'mariv haravim.
Beth Israel, Amcha אתה, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אתה, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אדוני אדוני this joy will last.
invite grades 1 and 2 to come and lead us in prayer. We invite our bat mitzvah for tomorrow, Chloe Zeichner, to come and lead us in Ve'ahavta. Page 150.
ואהבת את
אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך
היום על לבביך, ושמעת לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ולתך בדרך, ושופך ופומך, ושתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
This week is a celebrated week because it is Transvisibility Week, celebrated across the world. Created in 2009 originally as a day to raise positive awareness of the transgender community, Transvisibility Week is celebrated worldwide. This Trans Day of Remembrance this month also mourns the murders of transgender people and highlights the violence often directed at transgender people. Both Transvisibility Day and Transgender Day of Remembrance celebrate and acknowledge the contributions and raise awareness of the transgender community. And we offer this prayer written by Magid Andrew Raymer, Amicha Mocha. Our people came out of Egypt a mixed multitude, the spray of dividing waters sparkling diamonds all around them. We stood together at Sinai, all of us, future, present, past, amid the rumble of thunder and the crack of bright lightning to enter into the covenant with the one who loves us, in whose shining image we are all created over and over again. We have wandered bleak landscapes, built flimsy tents of skin and then houses of stone. We have planted orchards and vineyards, seen 2 temples rise and then go down in the surging flames, forcing us into exile. We have loved and lost, grieved and danced, transgressed and celebrated, hidden, suffered, and thrived. And we gather here this day in the community of our people, a mixed multitude. And we sing out, "Hear, O Israel, we stand together, all of us, descendants of the single first human created on the 6th day, and of our myriad parents through the generations, too numerous to name. We stand together, link arms, and pray. Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, God of the universe, who sanctifies us with the commandment to love ourselves and one another in all our varied ways, and blesses us with a diamond-bright radiance that still ripples out from your first spoken words of creation. We recognize that redemption came for us as we left Egypt, but now it is our task to bring that redemption to all peoples, wherever they may be, as we join together, page 152 in Micha Mocha. נאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות
בשמיים נתערף
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש,
שבת וינפש.
שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We rise together, page 155, as we begin our Amidah. We continue individually and silently through page 167.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו.
Every week, every Erev Shabbat, every Shabbat day, we publicly announce those in our community who are in need of healing, whether refuat nefesh, the healing of the soul, or refuat guf, the healing of the body. And this week in our community, we are thinking of Ari Zalman Leib, Ben Shoshana Umoshe, Dina Leah Bat Zohara, Lauren Berman, David Chapin, Jessica Lynn Friedman, Denise Garrick, Randy Gay, Lee Goldberg, Sonia Grossberg, Ellen Hutt, John Ikazaki, Ruth Jordan, Richard Kitson, Rebecca Lahana, Roberto Lahana, Joyce Layton, Deborah Levin, Jay Levitt, Marshall J. Lewis, Nechama Bat Rafael, Michal Iran Bat Yael, Jim McIndoe, Yoram Minas, Lisa Nelson, Sharon Resnick, Sharon Ritter, Galina Rubalchenko, Rosa Santiago, Jeannie Schnitzer, Rhonda Schwartz, Ilana Schaefer, Nathan Silver, Howard Solomon, Bernard Stein, Robin Streichler, Seth Streichler, Lynn Slotkin, Cindy Spector, Gerald Trimble, Kathy Weil, John Weil, Beatrice Weiner, Arlene Wellborn, George Wise, and Susan Zale. If you are praying for someone whose name I haven't called and care to share with our community, please do so as I come around the congregation. And as we begin to sing on page 253, I invite you to think about the healing that each of us needs for ourselves. Misha Berach.
Shabbat Shalom. It's a proud moment when our Beth Israel community over a period of 12 months can send over 100 of its congregants to Israel. And this is the year we have to make up for lost time. COVID did us in, and it didn't allow us to visit our treasured homeland. And so what began in June, our delayed Platt trip to Israel, with a number of our outgoing juniors and seniors. We had over 30 participate adults to join my wife Nicole and I and Rabbi Bernstein in Israel just 2 weeks ago, and continuing on to the United Arab Emirates. Then in December, along with Rabbi Gimbel, we will have 32 teens, juniors in high school, heading off to Israel for our second Platt trip. And in May, we have almost a busload already from Beth Israel joining the delegation from the Federation in San Diego to join for celebrating Israel's 75th year of existence as a modern Jewish state. And every time we go, we have the opportunity to go to Shahar Negev, our partners, our brothers and sisters in the region, and to share with them and to learn with them and to grow with them. And it is a true honor. But I know that we have a few minutes to just reminisce about what we experienced 2 weeks ago. And we delight in calling upon Jonathan Book, who is one of our participants, active congregant in our congregation, to come forward to share with us a few highlights of our experience together.
Hi. This was a really good trip. I hadn't been to Israel since I was a kid, and my wife Melanie hadn't been since she was a teen. And so for us as adults, this was a new experience. And there was a lot. It was a 2-week trip, and I'm going to share just a few of my own highlights. This may not necessarily match anyone else. So for me, the trip to Israel exceeded expectations on every level. I would wake up and look at the itinerary for the day and think to myself, okay, that looks interesting, only to be completely blown away by the experience. Rabbi Navarez had prefaced the trip saying that, yes, we're going to see a lot. The itinerary is packed. The story of Israel is a story of many narratives, both historical and current, and it's complicated. And it was also a lot of fun. So Melanie and I arrived a day late, don't ask, and we were greeted at the airport by our cousin who had made Aliyah with his wife from Baltimore and moved to Israel 2 years ago. They love living in Tel Aviv. They were glowing. Opportunities that were a struggle in the United States are wide open for them in Israel. They feel safe, they feel welcome, and they have a bomb shelter. It's complicated. I'm like, how many times have you had to use it? And Nathan's like, oh, only once. And so the next morning, we're introduced to the phenomenon of the Israeli hotel breakfast buffet. It is absurd. And it's in every hotel, and it's like they're all in a competition to outdo each other. The food in Israel is excellent. So then we start touring around as a group. We're in Tel Aviv, modern and new, and then we're in historic sites in Caesarea and ancient ruins in Dan. We're looking at artists and mysticism in Tzfat, and I'm glossing over this, but each excursion was a completely different adventure. Shabbat was very nice. It was outdoor at a private residence. If you remember Camp Shabbats as a kid, you know, that closeness and that camp feeling, this was like grown-up Camp Shabbat, only in Israel, with a lot more wine. We stopped in a Druze village for lunch one day. Druze is a religion with a small population in Lebanon, Syria, and Israel, and I'm a little embarrassed to say I didn't know about it before going there. We learned about Druze and their relationship with these 3 countries. It's a little complicated. We had a Druze meal, and the falafel. Does everybody remember the falafel? With that perfect little thin crunch and the savory inside, and it was piping hot. Anyone else? So I remember telling the restaurant owner on the way out, this is the best falafel I've ever had in my life. And he said, I know. We went up into the Golan Heights to visit a winery and a war memorial. We went through the West Bank. We toured the security fences and walls and checkpoints in Jerusalem with the Israeli colonel who helped design and build them. We were there on election day. It's complicated. We went to Shar HaNegev, and we learned there and in Tel Aviv about the progressive movement and Reform Judaism in Israel and the relationships between secular and Reform Jews in Israel and with Reform Jews in diaspora and the sister city relationship with CBI and San Diego Federation. And my takeaway from that is, to me, it feels like most Israeli Jews do not look at diaspora Jews as foreigners. We're more like expats who are coming back to visit. And so I'm very appreciative of the instant camaraderie we experienced with everyone in Shar HaNegev. And there's a little trick. You just drop Heidi's name and you're in. So I'm skipping over a lot more. We floated in the Dead Sea, we had a spa day, we climbed Masada, we were in the Old City in Jerusalem. There was an evening impromptu jam session with Rich and some, we'll call them amateur local musicians on Ben Yehuda Street. That was also a lot of fun. And Carl bought us some beers, and Rich can sing. And so, fast forward to the end, and about a dozen of us continued on a tour extension to Dubai. And so I'm sitting on the plane, leaving Israel, thinking about this 2-week experience. And I think especially for like an Israel newbie like me who hasn't been there many times, I think there's this desire to kind of think about it and process and unpack mentally. So I'm thinking about this all on the plane, and I have what is probably not an epiphany, but I decide I want a Tootsie Pop. And we had Tootsie Pops because Cynthia Fram had given us a bag of Tootsie Pops to share. And so I had a Tootsie Pop, and then Melanie had a Tootsie Pop, and then Natanya was walking by our seat. She's like, I want a Tootsie Pop. And so she took a bunch back to share. Not everybody wanted a Tootsie Pop, and I couldn't find Rabbi Navarez to give him a Tootsie Pop. Turns out he was in business class. They wouldn't let me up there. And so I know what you're thinking now. You're like, Jonathan, what? Why are you going all like Shahakianu over a Tootsie Pop? And I'll tell you, because when I think about that moment of all the things that had to happen to find myself on a flight from Tel Aviv to the United Arab Emirates, flying over Saudi Arabia on an El Al plane with longtime friends, with brand new friends, on a plane full of Israelis going to party in Dubai for the weekend. This is something that would have been unheard of just a few years ago. And now, it's not complicated. It's normal. It's easy. And for me, that was a little moment to savor. So it was a really good trip. And like the flight attendant said to us 2 weeks ago today in Dubai, Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jonathan. He's my warm-up act because I'm Allison Prager. I'm a member of your board of directors. Also joining me on the Bima tonight is Allison Golding, the other Allison on the board. We try to make it really easy on you. It's my pleasure to welcome everybody here tonight. I want to especially thank the Men and Women's Club of Beth Israel for ushering tonight. I don't know about you, but the energy in this room tonight and this Shabbat service was just spectacular. It was almost as much energy of a K to second grader, but not quite. It just was a wonderful service. I really want to thank the rabbis for tonight. I would also like to congratulate Chloe Zeichner and your family on your bat mitzvah tomorrow. Mazel tov. Welcome the Gesher group also joining us here this evening, and really the K through second graders. Wonderful job. I think you should come out at every service and your families. It'll be great watching you grow up through the synagogue. As we get into Thanksgiving, I was looking for a reading that I thought was appropriate and found this small little saying from Rabbi Harold Kushner. If you concentrate on finding whatever is good in every situation, you will discover that your life will suddenly be filled with gratitude, a feeling that nurtures the soul. Shabbat Shalom.
It may not feel like it on Thursday when the expected high is going to be 75, traditional Thanksgiving weather. But we are also next week going to be entering the month of Kislev, the month where we have the holiday of Hanukkah. So please join me in our prayer for the new month on page 261. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Kislev Yehieh B'Yom Shishi. The new month of Kislev begins on Friday.
May it be your will, God, my God, and God of my ancestors, that the coming month bring us peace, full life and blessing. May the promise of your new moon fill us with as we grow, making us complete. ניסים לאמותינו, מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו, מי שעשה ניסים
We begin to conclude our service by turning to Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 282. I invite you to rise as you're able.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, Latet Gedula L'Yotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have died at this in recent days and in years past. If you hear the name of your loved one, I invite you to rise so that we as a community may acknowledge your period of mourning. We are in the week of Shiva, the first 7 days following burial for Lillian Weiner, Pauline Zimmerman Chapin. We're in Shloshim, the first 30 days following burial for Stanley H. Helsel, Warren Edward Barkonic, James J. Genowine, Nicholas Isaac Simon, William Snyder, Dorothy Cohen, Josephina Bott-Mary, Shirley Hoffman, Nicholas Isaac Simon. Finally, we think of those who died at the season in years past. We acknowledge the yahrzeits of Bernard Benson, Yaakov Benter, Irv Berendt, Joseph Bernstein, Donald Blank, Mayer Block, Robert Block, Arthur Bloom, Helen Bransky, Harry Brucer, David Cantor, Theodore Kashik, Ralph Cohen, Stephen J. Cohen, Beulah Danziger, Sally Davis, Sam Deutsch, Max Elimelech, Morton Fader, Sebastian Ferron, James Fierstein, A.J. Fisher, Bernice Fitterman, Stanley Foster, Philip Fox, Jerome P. Friedman, Arnold Fierstein, Ruth Fierstein, Shirley Gilbert, Marilyn Gilman, David Goldman, Frank Goldstein, Edwin Goodman, Bella Gordon, Mary Lynn Gordon, Nathaniel Gould, Bernice Green, Harry Greenspan, Pearl Gus, Nathan Halley, Nate Harrison, Betty Hershkovitz, Monroe Hurwitz, Violet Ilko, Paul Jacobowitz, Betty Burlad Jacobs, Sarah Kahn, Ada Kahn, David Carney, Melvin Karen, Lillian Kurt, Maxwell Kurt, Paul Kraus, Sally Kraus, William Leff, Golda Lerner, Rabbi Kalman Levine, Maddie Levitz, Herman Lieber, Elsie Littman, Nancy Jane Mack, Joan Maiden, Charles Marblestone, Matthew Margulis, Doris Marks, Rady Marks, Milton Marks, Arthur Maskin, Elizabeth McDonald, Elizabeth Michael, Bernice Miller, Seymour Miller, Joseph Mont, Mary Neufeld, Henry Newman, Speedy Newts, Leonard Osias, Rita Plotko, Larry Prager, Max Rakowski, Lloyd Rafke, Anne Rawit, Benjamin Rubin, Irene Reel, Anne Rivkin, Helen Rose, Robert Rose, Malcolm Rosenberg, Herbert Rosenthal, Martin Rubenstein, Dennis Rubenstein, Morris Rubin, Howard Ruttman, Victor Schulman, Harriet Schwartz, Anna Shapiro, Murray Schindel, Stanley Schindel, Juliet Short, Craig Silberman, Greg Paul Silverman, Robert Silverman, Beatrice Sokol, Oscar Sokol, Norma Solomon, Theodore Solomon, Stanley Stein, David Steinberg, David Austin Swafford, Ronald Tabor, Diane Turkle, Linda Valfer, Sam Vinnie, Eli Welt, Mayor Weisberg, Beverly Zalato, and Lee Zalato. Perhaps there was a name on this list. Perhaps there's a name on your heart that was not mentioned aloud. I invite you to rise and share that name. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Together we rise as a caring community as we recite the ancient and hallowed words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh d'chol Beit Israel, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom
B'imrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru.
Amen.
May the one who creates peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, or wherever they may be, as together we say, Amen. Amen. I invite you to place your prayer book down as we put our... I'm actually not going to invite you to put your arm around the person next to you, because this melody for Adon Olam comes to us from the community of Yozma in Israel, and you may have noticed some of the melodies that we use this evening came from Israeli composers. This comes from the community of Yozma. We hope you will join us in Adon Olam, page 321, or the words on the screen.
נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמזרח אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור ובלי בעת צרה והוא גיסי ומנוס לי ונת כוסי ביום אקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא בידו אבקיד רוחי והייתי שם מהעירה ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נעשה בחפצו כל הזין מלך שמו נקרא
Turn to someone, say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Join us in Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz B'te'avon.
Those who are with us tonight, join us. Those guests, I know some of our Israel participants, our Gesher, we are going across the way to the chapel for our Shabbat dinner. The rest of us, please join us in the social hall for Oneg with outdoor seating if you prefer. Shabbat Shalom to everyone.